Welcome to this edition of SKNIS Week in Review, a program highlighting the top stories of the work of the government of St. Kitts and Nevis for the past week. Here's a look at some of the highlights for the week of December 2nd to 8th, 2022. Government supports promoting environmental conservation and preservation. JNF receives financial donation from Swiss Confederation. New fishing vessel to enhance local fisher folk. And St. Kitts and Nevis holds international forum to promote women's empowerment. I am your presenter, Sherima Matthew. Government ministers, corporate leaders, entrepreneurs, and experts from regional and international organizations gathered at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort on December 8th to take part in the Women's Empowerment Project's International Forum, organized by the Embassy of the Republic of China, Taiwan, under the theme Towards a New Frontier, Promoting Sustainable Development in the Eastern Caribbean through Women's Economic Empowerment. Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, commented that the issue of women's empowerment remains high on the agenda of his government and one that will continue to be addressed.
And our decision is based on a number of principles, but the obvious principle is equity, and that we understand clearly that there is no difference between the genders. But in addition to that, we know that in St. Kitts and Nevis, that most of our households are headed by women. And therefore, when you would have had an event like COVID-19 that would have rocked our economy like others around the world, one would expect that women will be disproportionately affected negatively. And so it makes a lot of sense to have a program like this, especially in St. Kitts and Nevis, targeting women. Because as this program empowers women, it empowers the homes, it empowers children, it empowers partners, families, communities, and the nation on a whole.
In 2021, the Republic of China, Taiwan launched the Women's Empowerment Project, which is designed to strengthen the economic empowerment of women by providing them with the resources needed to support entrepreneurship through vocational training and entrepreneurship counseling. The Advanced Vocational Education Center, AVEC, held its graduation ceremony for the class of 2022. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, congratulated the new graduates and spoke to some of the government's plans for the institution.
Graduates, again, I say congratulations. You did it. You are here this evening. Your family, friends, AVEC faculty, and special guests from the community, they are all here to celebrate your major accomplishment. AVEC, in realization of its motto, develop a skill, begin a career, has played an important role in assisting you, the graduates, to achieve your goals. For many of you, this day marks the start of a career. For others, it marks the attainment of skills which will improve job growth. Whichever the case, I hope it is also a marker in what will be a lifelong pursuit of learning, of broadening your knowledge, and of expanding your life experience. There was a time when a secondary school education was sufficient for getting a good job, a job with which you could support yourself and a family. Now, owing to the 21st century job market demands, some form of post-secondary education is increasingly required. I firmly believe more education you attain, the more doors you will open.
AVIT continues to provide skills training programs to students from across the Federation in an effort to advance TVET technical and vocational education and training. Dr. Hanley further impressed upon the graduates that the modern job market has become increasingly competitive and that they will have to continue their pursuit of academic development over the long term. St. Kitts and Nevis joined the global community to observe International Day for Persons with Disabilities on December 3rd. During an address to officially declare the day, Junior Minister of Aging and Disabilities, the Honorable Iseline Phillip, recognized and thanked institutions that support the differently abled.
We must recognize the established institutions in St. Kitts and in Nevis that function to support those who are differently abled. Some institutions that are involved and provide services and support to persons with disabilities include the St. Kitts and Nevis Association for Persons with Disabilities, Addie's Place, the Nevis Blind, Light and Visually Impaired Society, the Cardin Home, the Flamboyant Nursing Home, the Cotton Thomas Comprehensive School, the Cicely Brown Integrated School, and the St. Kitts Spectrum Services Center. These are all well known for providing educational and life skills training, social interactions, and networking for persons who are disabled in various forms.
Special mention was also made to the public hospitals and health facilities, all of which are accessible to persons with disabilities and where professionals are equipped in identifying disabilities at an early stage to provide necessary intervention. Officials of the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, residents, citizens and faith-based organizations came together on Monday, December 5th, 2022 for a special service of praise and thanksgiving as the Twin Island Federation was spared from any devastating impact during the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season, which was forecast to be an above normal season, but which turned out to be an average season. Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Ecclesiastical and Faith-Based Affairs, the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, said, "This annual service is not one of mere formality, but one of paramount importance when we come together before our God on a national level to show gratitude and appreciation for His faithfulness."
As the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season officially ends, it is important to ensure that we fail not as a people to give the Almighty thanks and praise for His mercies and protection over this our beautiful Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. He has spared us yet another year from the ravages of hurricanes and other natural disasters and has brought us safely to the close of this year's hurricane season, and for this we are truly grateful.
Notwithstanding the Federation's good fortunes this year with respect to hurricanes, Deputy Prime Minister Hanley said that citizens and residents should be mindful of the increased intensity and severity of hurricanes as a direct result of climate change. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis strongly supports any initiative aimed at promoting environmental conservation and preservation in the Federation. The latest of such was witnessed on December 3rd when the St. Christopher and Nevis Conservation Foundation, SCNCF, launched its first grant-making cycle. Minister of Environment and Climate Action, the Honorable Dr. Joyelle Clark, welcomed the initiative and pledged the government's fullest support.
You have our commitment as a government to support this work and to fashion our next 20 years of development around preservation and conservation of the environment and, of course, climate resilience. Why would we do this? We recognize that, let's say, the nature-based tours, they're all based on going into Central Forest Reserve. We have so many people whose livelihoods are linked to the environment, terrestrial and marine. And if we recklessly use the environment and if we do not make intentional steps to protect the environment, would we have a tourism product in 5 years? No. So it's critical that we support initiatives such as this one.
The St. Christopher and Nevis Conservation Foundation, which was founded in 2016 through a partnership with the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund, is geared towards fostering and promoting the conservation, protection, and maintenance of the biodiversity of the terrestrial and marine environment, as well as promoting resource mobilization in support of the conservation of the environment. The operations of the Department of Marine Resources on both St. Kitts and Nevis were significantly boosted on Tuesday, December 6th through the acquisition of a brand new $1 million fisheries patrol vessel. Director of the Department of Marine Resources, Dr. Mark Williams, said that this acquisition will significantly add to the enhancement of the fisheries sector, which he said plays an important role in food and nutrition security in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Not only are we looking at boosting production, but we are looking at boosting the safety and security of our fishers at sea. So this vessel is part of the tools that the Department of Marine Resources, both in St. Kitts and Nevis, will be using to ensure that fishers are safe in terms of our response to their distress at sea and also to their compliance to regulations.
The new vessel was procured under the Japan International Cooperation System JICS Grant Aid Project and was presented to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis following the conclusion of a 2-day operations and maintenance training workshop, which focused on areas such as vessel capacity, risk management, boating safety practices, among others. The Swiss Confederation, through the Honorary Consulate General in St. Kitts and Nevis, made a donation of 20,000 United States dollars to the island's main health institution, the Joseph Nathaniel France General Hospital, on Thursday, December 8, 2022, during a brief ceremony at the hospital's conference room. The financial contribution was accepted by the Director of Health Institutions within the Ministry of Health, Dr. Jensen Morton, who indicated that the monetary donation will go towards the improvement of surgical services at the hospital.
The funding is much needed and it will be used to help us to improve specifically the surgical services of the hospital as well as the functioning of the operating theatre. I would like to thank the Consul General of Switzerland as well as Mr. Amri for the handing over of these well appreciated, like I mentioned, funds, and we ensure that these funds will 100% go towards improving the quality of service and the quality of healthcare that's offered at our nation's hospital.
The check was handed over by Honorary Consul General of Switzerland, Mr. Ernest Amory. During a brief ceremony held on Tuesday, December 6, 2022, the Taiwan Technical Mission in St. Kitts and Nevis presented 3,500 tissue-cultured pineapple slips to the Ministry of Agriculture. The generous donation was accepted by the Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Samuel Duggins, who expressed his heartfelt gratitude to the resident ambassador of the Republic of China, Taiwan, to St. Kitts and Nevis, His Excellency Michael Lin, and the staff of the Taiwan Technical Mission.
What you have brought in terms of experience and technology to our country from yours has been immeasurable. We stand here on a site, again, that was previously donated by your country and your mission. And so we see a lot of our advancement tied to your support. And today is another step in the right direction as we welcome these 3,500 pineapples plants to our production cycle.
A similar donation of 2,000 pineapple slips was made to the Department of Agriculture on Nevis in November of 2022. Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, along with a delegation, traveled to Bridgetown, Barbados, for the 8th CARICOM Cuba Summit held on December 6, 2022. The Honorable Prime Minister was accompanied by the Right Honorable Dr. Denzil Douglas, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Naima Hazel, Acting Permanent Secretary in the Prime Minister's Office, Her Excellency Verna Mills, St. Kitts and Nevis' Resident Ambassador to the Republic of Cuba, Ambassador-designate Larry Vaughan, Head of the Regional Integration and Diaspora Unit, RIDU, and Samuel Berridge, Senior Assistant Secretary and RIDU Representative. The program of work for the summit included an overview of bilateral relations, health, agriculture and food security, climate change and disaster reduction, global issues and multilateral cooperation, and the adoption of the joint CARICOM Cuba Declaration, Bridgetown Declaration. St. Kitts and Nevis established diplomatic relations with the Republic of Cuba on May 10, 1995. The relationship between the two countries has borne many fruits, including scholarship offers to study in Cuba in many fields, including medicine and engineering and health assistance. St. Kitts and Nevis continues to make the clarion call for the decades-old U.S. economic embargo against Cuba to be lifted. That was the SKNIS Week in Review for December 2nd to December 8th, 2022. I am Sherma Matthew. See you next week as we continue to update you, the general public, on what's happening in and around the Federation.